Listen.
Welcome back to SPD911. I am your host, Dr. Jake Taylor Jacobs, President and COO of SIPS Healthcare. In this show, it's all about tackling the toughest challenges in sterile processing. Whether you're on the front lines or making high-level decisions, we're here to equip you with real solutions to rescue and elevate your department. Each episode, I'm joined by our Director of Clinical Compliance, Sharon Greene-Golden, a leader in compliance and regulatory standards, and our Director of Clinical Operations, Derek Jones, a specialist in operational efficiency and team development. But today, in replace of Derek Jones, our Director of Clinical Operations, we have the founder of SIPS Healthcare, the queen, the mother herself, Karen Cherry Brown, and together we will break down the critical issues affecting central sterile processing departments and provide actionable strategies to help you stay ahead. SPD 911 isn't just a show, it's your emergency response team for sterile processing. We tackle compliance concerns, streamline operations, and help you grow as a leader in your field. If you want to participate live and ask your questions, join the Executive Edge community. It is free, and the only way to engage with us directly, go to SPD 911 to join our community. From that site, you'll be able to see where it goes. And if you want to follow us on any of the actual podcast platforms, SPD 911, we now have our own slot. And we're fighting to become ranked just like our other platforms that we have. So you can find us on SPD 911 on podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and we'll be releasing our shows regularly there. So join us live every week on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time to catch the greatest show of central sterile processing on planet Earth. Ladies, what's going on?
All's well.
Dr. Jake, I have to say, you said I'm replacing Derek. Nobody can ever replace Derek. I'm just sitting in Derek's spot right now. Just want to clarify that.
We're holding it down today. Derek is actually out on the floor working today.
Dr. Jake, you're on mute. There you go.
He is preaching. That's what he's doing.
Yes.
Before we even get started, there's a couple of things I want to do. One is get these AirPods out my ear. Dear Lord.
You're on mute. Mute.
The next thing I want to do, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
The next thing that I want to do is to, like we do every show, I would like to know what was your favorite highlight of last week? KCB, you first.
Well, unfortunately, KCB wasn't here last week, so I apologize.
No, I'm saying, what did you do last week? What was your highlight last week?
Oh, my highlight of last week?
Yeah.
My husband and I bought a couple of rental properties. And so getting in there, finding a bunch of jewels I was excited about. I mean, some antiques, some vintage things that were left in the house. So I like treasure hunts.
Excuse me, paper chasing. Excuse me. What about you, SGG? What was your highlight of last week?
My highlight of last week was finishing part of a project. I'm cleaning out my shed. And I made headway. I threw away a lot of stuff. Hadn't seen it in 7 years. Stop looking at it. So I'm getting there. That shed's going to be empty in 2 weeks.
SGG playing decon in a shed. Everything got to go. You got a lot of single use stuff in there, SGG?
Single use items that have expired.
Oh my.
Sounds like work.
So my favorite part of last week was what was my favorite part of last week? I don't think I had a favorite part. I think last week was one of those hard weeks for me. I just
Okay.
was trying to get through. I was trying to get through. But there was a good word preached on that Sunday. So my favorite part of last week was the Lord has risen.
All
I
right.
say, yeah. That's my favorite part.
All right.
So this episode, we got to get right into it, ladies, because we're talking about the internal battle from decon drama to personality clashes that happens inside of SPD all over the country. And the
Mhm.
first scenario, for those of you that are new to the show, we take scenarios that we've either found on social media in communities or scenarios of people reaching out to us in our private community, the SP911 Executive Edge community that you all can participate in. So here's the first scenario, ladies. It's the shadow shift. When the night crew gets ignored, there's a situation. The night shift SPD techs often face full workloads with minimum support or even leadership, leading to burnout and errors. Their contributions are frequently overlooked, and issues they encounter may go unaddressed due to lack of visibility. The question is, how can SPD ensure equitable support and recognition for night shift teams to maintain morale and patient safety?
Okay. Sharon, you want me to take that one
And
first?
Sharon, let's let KCB go first. Hey, Stacy. All right.
So I think it's really no, I know. I'm not gonna say I think. I know it's really important that a manager understand what goes on each of their shifts, manager director. And the only way you know what goes on each of your shifts is to spend some time there. You know, most people think that day shift is the most important shift, but in reality, night shift is the most important shift because they're the ones that's getting everything ready for that day to be a successful day. And so it's a matter of going on the shift, spending some time looking at to make sure you have the processes in place. Also, to let your staff know that if there is a problem, sometimes you have to wake us up at 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever to say blah, blah, blah. So we can make sure that we're there to support you. I know we need our rest, but you're not gonna get any rest as a leader if you come in there at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning and all hell done broke loose.
That's
So
true.
that's my 2 cents.
That's
Take
true.
it, Sharon.
I think that you hit it on the head by saying we have to work that shift. One of the important things for night shift is to know that usually it is a shift that has the least amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and they have a certain amount of work that has to be done. Most testing starts at midnight. I had my sterilizers tested at 1 minute after midnight. They started with their Boydix, their testing. So what you want to do for night shift is you want to set them up for success by number one, giving them assignments that that they are able to meet. You put a priority list up that says these are the things we need done by 6 a.m. You cannot expect night shift to put together all the trays that were left behind by evenings. So there has to be a priority list that's there that says, for instance, all cameras need to be processed. All cameras we need because it's starting at 7:30. We have all of these minimally invasive cases. We're gonna need the cameras. When you allow your night shift to use a priority list as the goal, they're better able to not feel put upon because what happens is night shift feels like everybody left all the work for them to do. And being human beings, Karen, you know, we spend a lot of time talking about it. We're not working while we're talking about what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So stop them from having to have a discussion about evening shift left all these trays. What you do is you tell them what trays they are totally responsible for. One of the things I started, Karen, before I retired was I had every shift to send me a picture of what was left at the end of their duties.
Mhm.
So I had a picture. So I knew going into evening shift, what evening shift had there, and I knew what was there at 11:30. Therefore, I could hold my night shift accountable for what was on the priority list being done. Then I told night shift, take a picture of what's left, not what you did, of what's left. Day shift, take a picture of what's left. Now that stops all the finger pointing about they didn't do their part. Because what I will tell you is that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And when they have to put it in a picture, they're more apt to get their work done. They're more
Yeah.
apt to do what's needed.
Yeah, and Sharon, it's all about relationships too, because one of the things that we tend to do internally in a sterile processing department is say they, first shift, second shift, they didn't do. And so those relationships, because I would say at the end of the day, when our customers don't look at first shift failed something, or second shift failed something, third shift, they're saying SPD failed. And so if one shift fails, we all fail. So it's like you said, the putting the making sure that you're communicating with each shift. Where I used to ask when I was getting ready to go to bed, which a lot of times was late at night, so I'm in the third shift. So I'm saying, I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm making this phone call so I can see if you have any bottlenecks before I go to bed. So at least I can, kind of help navigate through that. But again, it's helping each shift understand that we're all one department. And so third shift never feels as though they're that stepchild that they feel they are at the time. So if that's us as managers, leaders coming in, earlier in the morning to to overlap some time, but at some point we really have to work the shift so
Yeah.
we can, like I said, processes are in place. We can see if we need to ask for additional staff to help support whatever that need is.
Sometimes they just need guidance. My night shift, the one thing they hated was for me to show up, to help them. I'm like, the cavalry is coming. They be like, we don't mind the cavalry, but are you part of the cavalry? Yes. Because I'm not only coming in to help you get the work done, I'm coming in to help you to better realize how to focus on what needs to be done first. Sometimes they just don't know who's on first, who's on second.
Right.
And when you come in and give real time guidance and say, listen, as I told them, Karen, once you put the test in the autoclave, you can walk away. It's going to do its job. While it's doing its job, this is what you should be doing.
That's right.
You have to give them guidance because some people just walk in circles. They spend a lot of time going from here to there, here to there. They haven't put a tray together yet, but they got a lot of steps. So being there, as you said, Karen, in the department at night allows them, number one, to know something that Karen and I both know. I know what you're supposed to be doing. Not only do I know, I can do it. And I'm here to help you in real time to get it done. You're not on your own. I told my people, call me. I will get out the bed and I'm coming. But understand, when I come, it's on. So be sure you really want me in the house.
I think that there's two things here. One, when we're looking at these shifts in the department, we have to look at it like a track relay team.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're running your race. Yes, your split time does make sense for your future, for your scholarship, for your dreams. However, when we're running a relay together, we have to learn to pass the baton efficiently and effectively.
Mm-hmm.
If not, the team loses. It's kind of to your point, SCG, when you said, or KCB, when you said, which one of you said, they're not going to say third shift is screwing up.
That's right.
SPD is screwing up. So when we're looking at this, I like to compare it to like the Olympics team, right? USA Olympics team. Each of these four individuals, let's just call it four shifts, in their own world, they're stars. They have their own deals with brands, make their own money individually. But when we come together for the Olympics, we're coming together to one race separately, but together.
Right.
So inside of our SPD SPD departments or SP departments, we want to make sure that everyone knows their importance of passing the baton. And so one of the things that I want to start sourcing for our departments that we run is an actual baton that is kept, is sterilized, is kept, so that when that baton is passed, everyone knows that there's a responsibility that comes from one shift to the next. That's the first thing. The second thing is, as a manager, yes, if you're a manager of over a department and you're the sole manager of that department, it's your responsibility to rotate. The day shift shouldn't be the only shift that knows you. As a manager getting paid, your job is to manage the full department, which means all shifts. If someone is at a facility and they've only seen you as a manager and they work the night shift one time or two times in 3 or 4 years, that's a problem that you have to understand. With great position comes great responsibility, which means that you have to make yourself adaptable. The one thing that SGG does when she touches ground, she hits every shift. She there until the ticking stop ticking. KCB used to do when she was in the field. Every shift has to feel your presence. Yes. And every shift has to be aware that you're going to pop up at any time to make sure that that baton is being run correctly. So when you're thinking about the process of a track team, you as a manager, you're the coach. You can't pay attention to the first and second leg only and leave your third or your fourth anchor legs. You can't leave your anchor legs alone. You have to make sure that everybody is doing it collectively. And you as a manager, you're doing your job and ensuring that that's connectivity and everybody knows the part that they play. And there's a lot of facilities that we go to, that we support, that we are getting information from, where they've never seen their manager. So by the time the manager comes, they're like, what are you coming to this shift for anyway? We've never seen you, so why are you coming now? Versus making your presence known and understanding a lot of this stuff, it has to be reiterated over and over and over again. They know you're not just the third shift, you're the third leg of two shifts of one team. And if you're going to be the third leg on this three-legged race that we have, you're the anchor bringing us home. The anchor should be the strongest to make sure that we're setting the tone for that first leg to start over again. This is a cyclical thing that we have to understand. So yes, it is separate, but you're separate on the same team, trying to get to the same goal. Great job, ladies, answering that.
However, I just wanted to say, somebody wrote in the comments about the ability to have communication from shift to shift. And Jennifer, you're absolutely right. We do have shift reports. We report one shift to the next shift so that everybody is aware of what is left, what needs to be done, the importance of the order of doing things. And that is most important, that we have the shift reports and we do those. And it's important that you keep that information for the future to hold people accountable for their ability to complete their duties.
Yes. And I do want to say this, Donnie, you're right. These two ladies look amazing and they give great advice looking good, you know. I ain't never seen chocolate look this good. It looks so amazing on the screen right now. So as we go into this thing, right, we have this theme of transitioning the team and making sure that people work together. We have to go to the next scenario, which is getting out of the one size fit all training trap. And here's the situation. You got new SPD techs are often subjected to generic training programs that don't account for individual learning styles or prior experience, leading to confusion and inconsistent performance. The question that this person had was, what strategies can be implemented to personalize SPD training programs, ensuring all techs are competent and confident in their roles? What strategies can be implemented to personalize SPD training programs, ensuring all techs are competent and confident in their roles? I'll actually start, because y'all know training is my favorite thing. KCB is my favorite thing. SGG.
Okay.
First and foremost, we all have to understand that the average American stops reading after 8th grade. The average American. Then you have to go even further. Less than 20% of high school graduates pick up a book again after graduating high school. Less than 20%. So when I'm understanding people coming into central sterile processing, a large majority of people coming into central sterile processing are what we call common American people, people that don't have high degrees, people that didn't go above and beyond to get a graduate degree. Those are few and far in between. You have some that graduate in programs as they're in sterile processing, but coming to it's a new career, maybe a second from a job to a career in sterile processing. They're getting certified for the first time. These are all things that are, relatively new. And then you have those that are transferring to your department that may be educated, that may have all the degrees, that may be triple certified, having a gold crown. And teaching both the same is a hindrance to your organization, which is why I start with the educator. Educating, teaching, and training are three different things. Three different things. When we're talking about training means I don't leave this subject until I know that you know it for a fact. You can regurgitate it to me and you can teach it. The problem is a lot of our educators are just teaching. We're having philosophical conversations about what should be done. Then we're moving on from having a 5-minute conversation and expecting that person to have that level of knowledge. If I'm bringing somebody into my organization, if I have a triple crown that have proven themselves to be knowledgeable, I'm actually, as an educator, going to team up with this person, make sure that they understand the competencies as I should as an educator. If they do, I'm going to peer them with their new peer that's coming into the organization so that they have somebody that's new like them, that's experienced like them, that's more experienced, that can actually hold their hand as you're training. It's very important, especially when we talk about tag teaming, getting people into the same organizations. There's a lot of people that are great at knowing the competencies for self, SGG, that gets put into educator roles, but we're never taught how to train, how to educate, how to put curriculums together, how to understand competencies, how to understand the different type of learning styles of everyone else. If I'm following somebody that can blatantly tell me I'm a hands-on person, but I'm talking to them, I'm missing every piece of the training needed. So then I report to my manager or my director, SGG, and I say, I taught, I trained, I did my thing. They should know it. But then when SGG goes and walks to that person, they over here messing up. They flipping stuff around. They got peroxide in there trying to clean it with peroxide that they brought from the house. These are all things that we have to understand. And so honestly, I would like to sit on this question with the educator. We have to do a better job of equipping our educators with the proper tools that are needed to truly learn how to train and develop talent. And then lastly, that educator has to be proactive in ensuring that the in-service and quality assurance of that knowledge and competencies are kept up to speed, because people fall off their horse when they get around people who cut corners. So it's a proactive thing. A lot of educators are waiting until the last minute to train versus being proactive in their role. And so that's just my piece when it comes to being able to ensure that people don't fall into the one size fit all. First of all, I have to understand and test people's competencies on what they actually know. Their resume doesn't always give the truth of what they actually know. So I want to assess what they really know first, and then I want to test in physical action what they really know. And from there, the educator should build individual training plans for each and every person that they're bringing in to ensure that they're up to speed. SGG, what's your thoughts?
I totally agree with you. Everybody learns at a different level, especially adult learners. The SPD course is written on an 8th grade level, because when we wrote the actual book, we realized that with all of the different adults coming into the course, this was the level they would probably be at. I agree that training is paramount, and training requires that each one actually teach one. I have, as you say, stay there and be sure that you understand what it is you're supposed to do. What I find a little disheartening is that We have educators sometimes who aren't able to do the job themselves. And just because you can read the book, you part of you part of the 20% that read the book, doesn't mean you can teach the book. So I have found that I have met some educators, this is generalization, that they say, I'm an educator, but when they go to actually teach, they cannot teach the
Come on.
process.
Mm-hmm.
In sterile processing, it is most important that we understand the steps to the process. All IFUs have steps. And if you're not able to comprehend the steps, you will miss something that is important cleaning that particular instrument. So, training, I love to teach, and I teach to what I call, Karen, the light bulb comes off in your head. When I see your eye light up and you say, yeah, now I understand what you meant. I feel like my job is finally done. But I will stand there next to you until you get there. Because sometimes just talking, people aren't listening, they're not paying attention, they're thinking about what they're gonna cook for dinner. I'm trying to tell you how to check a needle holder to be sure it's working. You trying to figure out if you're gonna have spaghetti for dinner. I've got to bring you in and say, come on off the dinner plate and understand this needle holder. Show me what I just told you. And what people don't always understand, Dr. Jake, is just standing there saying something is not good. I need a return demonstration. I
Mm-hmm.
need you to return demonstrate to me more than once. I'm gonna let you return demonstrate. I'm gonna go off somewhere. I'm coming back an hour later and say, show me how to check this needle holder. Because I need to know that you know that I know that you know how to check a needle holder. So training is paramount. And all educators are not trainers.
Yeah. Yep. And and I go back to the processes of in each area too, but I'm gonna go even further back to defense of the educators in sterile processing, because Sharon, we go way back. It was always the person that did the best. Whoever did the best, voila, you're the supervisor, or you're gonna be the manager, or you're gonna be the educator.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't necessarily given the tools to be successful in those roles. And I think in sterile processing today, the manager or whoever's over the department is still so overwhelmed, still goes by whoever can put out the most sets with the less mistakes. We're gonna make you the educator. But
Mm-hmm.
that, like you said, doesn't make them the best educator, because if you're the only one that is doing well and the people that you're training, you still have all these mistakes.
That's
Let's
right.
take it back to the root cause.
That's
You
right.
didn't do, maybe you were, and maybe you didn't do a good job because you were never given the tools to do a good job. You don't have the processes in place. You don't have an education plan in place. You're just saying, okay, go work over here. I'm going to check your stats, and then you made a mistake. Okay, this is how you need to do that. And so I go back to the beginning where there needs to be a process in place. How long are you going to be training in each of these areas? Because there needs to be a time limit, a time period. I want to say limit, a time period. Some people are going to need maybe more than 6 weeks, if 6 weeks is what you say in each area. And so you're working with that person where they're failing, and you're going back where you said, give me the demonstration, I'm showing you again, then give me the return, the return demonstration. But it always starts with whoever the person is in that education role. Because when in the beginning, it's going in, doing an assessment of that department, and you're looking at how the process, the tools that educators using. And so you're saying, hey, this is something that we want to look at, whatever that may be. Sometimes hospitals, you may need to bring in someone from the outside to help you set your education process up for success, that educator up for success. So she's able to, or she or he's able to teach adequately, and it keeps going on and on and on, versus everybody's just trying to figure out the best way to do it, which the best way might not be the best way, whatever's in their head.
That's right. And to add to that, I did want to wrap up the difference between educating, teaching, and training so that anyone watching can rewind, write it down, and pay attention to the differences. So educating is about the comprehensive development of an individual, fostering critical thinking and adaptability. It's a holistic process aimed at developing intellect, moral, or social understanding. Teaching focuses on delivering knowledge or skills in a structured manner. So I'm giving a knowledge or a skill typically in a structured manner, but it's just, hey, I taught it. Now you know how to put it together. Now you know how to put this tray together. But training is centered on enhancing specific skills for practical application. So it's not about just putting the tray together. It's putting it together efficiently, effectively, consistently, on time, as many times as you can without failure. That is training. And so there's a lot of educators, I'm saying a lot generally, and I'm saying in any industry, there's a lot of educators that teach something one time and say you should have it, and I expect for you to not make a mistake. When in fact, the educator should be both educating and training. I'm going to show you how we put the tray together, and then I'm going to drill you every single day to ensure that you have what it takes to actually continue to process or put these things together. And so I think that that's just a call to action to educators that may be listening to say, let me look at how I've been training, educating, or teaching. And can I see a difference in, am I just giving philosophy like water should be doing this, or we should think about all these other things, or am I teaching after I teach, then I move on to the next subject, or am I training after I teach? I'm going to train you, and I'm going to train you, and I'm going to drill you, and I'm going to drill you until you can drill someone else the same way. And that's the only way that you can actually ensure quality 3, 4 levels down within your organization if everyone's on that same training type of module. But this is also a call to action to hospital administration. You have to allow enough time for people to truly be trained. I'm not saying to slow production down. What I am saying is to actually look at the numbers and the statistics when it comes to bringing someone in your organization and how long it actually takes them to get not only acclimated to the environment, but acclimated to how the trays and cases need to be put together, and also acclimated to a standard from which they may not be coming from. So if you have a standard where you have a higher standard in your department and someone may be coming from a low standard environment, you have to allow that person time to get acclimated to this new standard, which means that we have to be a lot more lenient in how we look at handling leaders in the SPD department when it comes to how they're managing an organization that is so high in attrition that we're always getting new talent and travelers in all the time for pay reasons and other reasons that they have to be able to navigate, and we have to ensure that we're not falling into that. Great job, ladies. We're knocking it out.
Jake, I just wanted to say, I just left one of our accounts where I went in and they didn't have scopes. And I picked the scopes up and I asked a question. Now, I'm not the educator, but the question I asked was, how do you process a scope from beginning to end? The education part came along with everybody looked at me like deer with headlights on, but they're processing. I said, okay, give me a scope. I'm going to show you what you should be doing, only to find out that the key element we needed, nobody could find the paste to clean the end of the scope. So that told me right there that not only did we not know how to process a scope, we didn't know the steps, and we were happy doing what we call the best we could. Right. We did what I call a stopgap measure right away. Everybody stop what you're doing, come along. I went and found the paste. When I found it, I came back out and said, we're now getting ready to have a training session, because you need to be able to process these scopes correctly. And we did that. I showed them, and then they had to show me. And then when I came back the next day and somebody was doing the scope, you know where I was? Standing behind them, seeing if by chance they picked up on all the steps they learned the day before. Where they fell off at, I had to bring everybody back together and say, wait a minute, what happened? Yesterday, everybody's head was bobbing. So today, each of you gonna have to clean a scope.
That's right.
Because
SG,
the parent is
like
standing next to me is working. So sometimes you just have to meet people. Karen puts it out there. You meet people where they are, and then you go ahead and help them to excel. I'm gonna bring you up. I'm not gonna let you stay down here on the bottom. Yeah, you down here, but today we both coming up. I'm standing here next to you because what we do matters every day, and it matters to every patient. And I think that we saved that company a lot of money. They thought scopes were broken. They just needed to be polished.
And actually, I'm going to look it up while KCB, you have any other input you want to put on that? The extra sauce?
I think she seasoned it real well.
She seasoned it good. I'm asking you and how much we actually saved them right now. We wrote a report on it. Just on scopes alone, we saved them a net cost of $53,800.
Love it.
Just by teaching. Notice what she said. She said, I did a stopgap. I taught everybody. And then moving forward, I stood behind them and trained them to make sure that they could do it consistently. See, training is about proficiency. Teaching is about understanding. I can understand what to do, but training ensures that they're proficient in that understanding of what's being done, which is a proactive thing. You get to people management and managing people resources. The number one thing that we have to understand is that it is a proactive sport. You cannot be a manager or an educator or a trainer or a leader on an account or at a facility just sitting on your behind waiting for a problem to come to you, because you're always going to feel like you're backpedaling. However, if you were to be proactive, if I'm at work, as KCB would say, if I'm at work, I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to work. I'm here to work. I'm not here to sit down. I'm here to drive a result. And you have to be result driven. You should be like a shark hunting in the water, looking for who's in trouble so that you can pounce and provide some.
Dr. Jake, that saying, I used to tell Steph all the time, people, period. If you see a problem, you own the problem. It doesn't matter what level we are in the department, because I've heard technicians say, well, I knew that, but the supervisor should know that, or the supervisor, well, that's the manager's responsibility, or the educator. No, if you see a problem, you own the problem, where maybe you aren't the one that can do something directly about it, but indirectly you can by going and saying to someone in charge, hey, we got a hole in the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let the ship sink.
Right.
That's right. So as we're transitioning, ladies, from this one-size-fit-all training trap, we have to address one of the hardest things that SGG can't stand. It's when people like to stay in one area and punish everyone else in other areas.
Yes.
And the situation, ladies. Some SPD staff members consistently avoid assignments in decontamination area, in others, but decontamination to be specific, leading to resentment among colleagues and potential workflow bottlenecks. How can SPD leadership foster a culture of shared responsibility to ensure all areas, including decontamination, are adequately staffed and valued?
Well, let me start. Because this is a pet peeve of mine, where people
ACB, this is what makes SGG do this.
where people feel like they own one spot. As Karen and I know, because we're from way back, You learn sterile processing is a group of processes, not one.
That's right.
You learn, number one, we learned that we have to be able to clean. We have to be able to decontaminate, clean, reassemble, process, sterilize. We got to do all these jobs. I call it SPD Iron Man. Iron Man football. Back in the day, when football players got on the field, they played offense and defense. You never left the field. You jump on the one side, then you jump on the other side. Because you had to play all the parts. You cannot effectively, this is just SGG's understanding, run a department fairly and not have everybody able to hold up their end of sterile processing adequately and equally. I understand some people love decontam. That's the only place they want to work. And you know what? That may be good for you. But on the day that everybody calls out, and it's just you, it's just Karen and I, we both got to be able to come to the other side and put a tray together.
That's right.
We have both got to be able to run a sterilizer. We have both got to be able to answer the phone. We've got to be able to help the OR find the tray. So when you allow somebody to work one spot, you are not helping them. You are incapacitating them to their job as a true technician. My technicians have to be able to work every area. And as a manager, I feel it's my responsibility to make sure we rotate.
That's good.
We rotate. You don't own one spot. We rotate. And by rotating, number one, it keeps you in the know. It keeps everybody in the know of what to do in decon. Because see, on the day that no soap was changed in decon, you know what they say?
Well,
Karen wasn't here today. Well, Karen didn't need to be here today because we all know we're supposed to change the soap.
that's good.
But when you put it in one person's hands, you set yourself up for failure. So my thing is everybody works every area. And this is just SGG. The sterilization part over there by the autoclaves people, my rule is when your tray makes the load, you are the sterilization person. You put the load in the autoclave. We don't have no set seat for just somebody that's waiting for a tray. I've been to hospitals where they have someone, their only job is to run the autoclave. What on earth? I'm paying you to run the autoclave? The autoclave doesn't run but every so many hours because, you got to run a cycle. You got to let it sit in there. Then you got to bring it out. So what are you doing in between? In my department, you now on assembly. Or you're putting stock away. Or you're answering the phone. Or you're the runner to the OR. We are well-rounded professionals who ought to be able to do every station in that department so that we run smoothly. That's just my take on it. Take it, Miss Karen.
No, I definitely agree with that. I used to do and recommend that people either you're assigning someone for daily or weekly. But in this conversation like you're having with your staff, do we want to rotate daily or do we want to rotate weekly? But we're going to rotate these assignments. So I'm gonna get some buy-in from you, which y'all prefer to do.
That's right.
And then because like you said, you're crippling staff that aren't able to rotate and learn different areas. And decontam is on your body. It's a wear and tear on your body. And so I think it's not fair to somebody just to be in decontam all the time, putting that pressure on their body. I know sometimes, you have someone that says, I don't really like being around a lot of people, so I prefer to work back here. I've had people, that said that. But in the end, like I said, you have to look at what's best for the entire department, because if you said if someone calls out and it's just the two of you, and only the two of you know decontam, we're not getting anything pushed on those other sides.
Right.
So, yeah, I do believe in rotation of work assignments.
Now you do have people that are specialists. They just do something exceptionally well. um, doing something in comparison to someone else, right? Something that intrigues them more. And I've seen this SGG and the other industries that I've been able to work in and kind of turn around organizations in that capacity. My concept is just like you, everybody should know every inch of what's going on. Your specialty, I understand. You may even be able to convince me to let you rotate a little bit more often there and help when we're really struggling there first. But everybody has to rotate. And I like to liken it to this, ladies. You see somebody that's a VP of a big corporation, and they got these titles, they have the salary, they have the resume, they have the accolades. Then they go and become a VP or a C-suite of a small business where you have to do everything. You see a complete skill set gap. Because in these big corporations, they only did a thing and they were able to grow and promote from doing the thing. But when you put them in a smaller environment that they have to grow from scratch, it's a total different environment. So if you are a professional in this space of sterile processing or in any organization that you're looking at this here, it is absolutely critical for you to be a jack of all trades. And here's a final thing, SGG. This is my favorite part. The saying of a jack of all trades, it says, I'm going to pull up the jack of all trades full saying, because everybody likes to say a jack of all trades is a master of none. And then they stop right there, right? But if you continue the conversation, if you continue what it fully states, it says a jack of all trades is a master of none. And then, hold on, I got to pull it up. Hold on. Full quote. Okay. The jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So it's the extra piece to it. It's reading the other part. And the other part says, yes, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but it's better than being a master at one. Because if I'm only a master at whatever the job duty is, when we need your help, you can't help.
Right.
You to teach, you can't teach.
Right.
When I need you to manage, you don't even have experiences that can help me navigate my emotions that I'm feeling that day, dealing with an overload because you've never been there before. And this, like that saying, we don't trust leaders who simulated leadership. We trust leaders based on your battle wounds and your scars that you have. And I'm trying to figure out which scar relates to what I'm going through right now. And that's what I think about when people are kind of growing in sterile processing or any other industry. If you have aspirations for being a great manager or leader, it will behoove you to be as involved in every aspect of that department as you can.
Yeah, Dr. Jake, the other thing is this, and Karen can attest to this. If you are the manager you say you are, you will take people's great talents and put them to use. It's ortho day. I have an ortho specialist that knows how to clean those loaner trays better than anybody else. I assign you the decon on that day because you like decon. And I put Miss Sharon, who really likes to wrap the trays. I put Miss Sharon on the part where she is helping to reassemble and wrap trays because I know she's going to get them wrapped. You have to, the word I use is know your audience. You have to know your people and you have to know their lows and their highs. And if you know where they're good at, you take your day or your week, as Karen says, and you position people for success.
Right.
I know Miss going to get those cameras done, and they're going to be done right. So this is a big, minimally invasive day with lots of cameras and scopes. Golden, you're on low temperature today. And I can breathe easy because you got that. But tomorrow's not a minimally invasive day. And Golden, tomorrow, you're on assembly, steam trays. You have to use the talent where it is and make it work for you. So I say to managers and leaders, you must know your audience. Part of the problem is you don't know what they're good at. Because as Dr. Jake says, you're in the office.
Or how to talk to them. I can remember one time I was at a union facility and they wanted to rotate daily. That's what they chose to do. And so there was a person that had been in Deacon Tam the day before. And I said, and they were on the other side, but Deacon Tam had backed up. And I knew they were really quick and good in Deacon Tam. And I said, I need your help in Deacon Tam. Well, I was in Deacon Tam yesterday. And I said, and I know you were. And that's what I'm asking you, if you would help out again today, because well, okay, so it's knowing your audience and also knowing how to talk to people. I'm not saying be fake, I'm not saying brown nose, but we're a team. And
Right.
so you're the best player, one of the best players that I have right now. And so can you go out back there and help for a few hours? And typically they're okay, because they understand. You have to help people understand the why behind. I'm not picking on you, I need you. We
Right.
need you.
Right. Nothing was better than for me to say, Karen, I'll come help y'all today. They be like, Lord Jesus, wait a minute. Please don't let Miss Golden come back here. I'm like, I got it. I'm coming. They're like, no. But the bottom line was, I always wanted them to know, I'm not asking you to do anything I won't do. I will come in the trenches with you. But they knew if I was in the trenches, Dr. Jake, it was also training day.
You know what's crazy is KCB is a phenomenal talent scout, and believer of believing in people past past what the noise is. She has a great key eye in trying to find talent and putting them in great positions. But the biggest thing that I've seen is exactly what she's mentioning. How you talk to people can get the best out of them.
Yes.
Especially when like they are being overly used that season. But when you tell them, hey, I need you, like and acknowledge most people want acknowledgement. Acknowledge that I'm putting in extra time. Acknowledge that I'm the best that's doing this. And you will be able to see so much more growth in certain areas. And even if you talk to somebody, say, listen, you're my ortho queen or king, but listen, I need you to learn this.
Yes.
This is why giving context, I tell people this all the time, content without context is always a guaranteed catastrophe.
Yeah.
If I'm able to provide someone context to why I'm saying something or the content that I'm providing to them, and I give them depth of why versus being a totalitarian, go do it, everyone rotate, this is what's going on. But if I say, hey, listen, I've seen SGG do this. Y'all need to do this, but let me tell you why. SGG, do you remember when the instrument, I can't remember the name, and at one of the facilities we were at, it was broken. And everybody everybody had to come down from upstairs down to everybody called. And you said, y'all know what happens when we don't. Can you explain what happened?
Yes. Yes. So it was the actual instrument they thought didn't actually work. And everybody decided it didn't work. And I said, it does work. Come down here. And we actually took it apart and showed them how to put it back together.
Oh no, not that one, SGG. I'm talking about the one where the doctor sent a picture of the instrument inside, and it was burning because the coil, the protection wasn't on it. It was this long, yeah.
So we had the instrument that they did not insulation check. And the piece of the insulation was completely gone, Karen. He's actually doing the surgical case, looking up at the camera and saying, look, see, the insulation is missing. We had to bring that downstairs and say to the team, this is unacceptable. And what I said to them was, you cannot be insulation checking, because had you been checking, this would have spiked and you would have been shocked. So we know what we're not doing, sir. We have to explain this to the doctor. We understand we're not doing what we're supposed to do, but we're going to get this together. When you bring people together and say, this is fact, this isn't fake news. Here is the instrument. Here's the picture. I asked him, I said, take a picture, sir. He took a picture. We brought the picture down in real time. We had to hold the person accountable who put that tray together, who said, "Oh yes, I checked it. Oh no, you didn't check it." And had he not been paying attention, Dr. Jake, he could have burned the patient.
Mm.
He could have burned the patient. So
Yeah.
it's all about bringing people to where they are and helping people understand something. I just want to say something, Karen, and you both said. I used to send notes to people's houses 3 to 4 times a year, personal handwritten note. They said, "Dr. J, I just want you to know, I see you. I know that every day you come in and wipe down every corner of this department. I want you to know I appreciate your efforts. I appreciate your help." I would write whatever it was and mail it to their house because I wanted them to be at home when they read that note and know that they had a manager that paid attention. Don't nobody have to tell me nothing. I'm looking, I'm in the corner when you don't see me. Because Karen, as you would say, people just want to know that you know that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Human beings, I just want you to tell me thank you. You just got 4 more overtime hours out of me. That note got 4 more overtime hours out of me because I know that you truly appreciate what I give. And that's what you have to do for people.
Yeah.
And when they're in these positions where I don't like Deacon Tam. I understand, Boo, you don't like Deacon Tam. I really didn't like it either. But we have to go. We all have to work Deacon Tam because you won't know how to clean the instrument. You won't know how to check the instrument for installation testing if you don't never do it. You always in Deacon Tam. So I have got to bring people to the know. And in this field where we're dealing with people's lives, we don't have the luxury to not teach them everything. And Karen, Dr. Jake, hold them accountable. People don't like to be held accountable.
So I want to add on to what you said about the sending the cards. I think that's phenomenal. You took it a step further than me because I used to keep thank you cards in my desk because I thought it was really important too, to say thank you. And so I'm saying I'm putting that out there to managers. Don't just give it blindly because people know when you aren't sincere.
Right.
But I used to, I would do those thank yous and hand it to staff. I feel like just as important as it is for us to maintain those CEs every year where we maintain our certification, it should be the same way with competencies. And if
Yes.
we do our annual competencies and staff know that they have to check off in each of those areas, that's going to give them a little more encouragement too, because if competencies are tied to performance evaluation, which is tied to your money, you gonna want to get in those different areas and put some time in because you want to show you are competent in all those areas. So just a little food for thought.
Yeah, and I think that SGG, KCB, you all have hit it, right on the mark, especially when it comes to showing people, that you care. And I actually the reason why I brought that up, KCB, what SGG did at one of our sites was because that was a proof of a case when she said everybody must rotate, because this person was kind of upset that SGG was making people rotate. Now here's a telltale sign on why rotating was important, because there is no way that mistake would have happened had you been rotating the way that you were supposed to.
That's right.
Is being a mainstay on the site. You're an elder. You've been in the industry all these years, and you throw that around and make people that are younger a little bit more nervous to talk to you. But when you have someone like SGG on the site, the baby boo, come here, let me talk to you.
That's right. That's right.
Makes that environment a lot different when it comes to that. And to our executive producer's point, that put that post up, put it back up, Iggy, about Profit Center. Our number one goal at SIPS Healthcare is to turn the sterile processing department into a profit center. When we look at how money is made within the healthcare system, you have your OR, which typically makes about 60 to 70% of all revenue at a hospital. The SPD service is 100% of what's needed as far as instrumentation materials that's needed for the surgeries. If the OR is the revenue generator, the SPD is the defense. That's your profit center. And so if we can't control the profit center, we're not a revenue generator for the hospital, but we are a profit maker. We get a budget, we ensure risk from infection as much as we can. We ensure that if we, in all things that we can do, we're stopping lawsuits from happening, infection rates from going high, surgeries from having to be redone because of an infection that's made from instruments that now they have to go and do another surgery that's now pro bono that the hospital has to provide because the mistake happened during a surgery. So when we think about all of the ways that sterile processing truly affects the profit line or that profit margin of a hospital, this is why SPD 911 is created. This is why you have greats like Karen Cherry Brown, Sharon Greene-Golden giving this information back to you, because if you don't take your job seriously, nobody else will take you seriously, which takes me to this last point. We at this point, if you're new to the show, this is when we ask our mainstays here that's on the camera, what's one parting word of wisdom that they can give you before we leave. So we'll start with SGG and finish with Karen Cherry Brown. SGG, if you were to give somebody one piece of advice this week that you want them to hold until next week, what would that be?
I would want you all, first of all, to understand that in my reality, I believe that the decontamination area is one of the most important areas of our job. Why? Because if it isn't clean, we can't do anything else with it. So some people hate to go to decon. I just hate it. But it's the most important area. This is where you have the opportunity, following instructions for use, to adequately decontaminate and have an item where it can come over to the other side clean, so that the people on the other side can handle it and use it in reassembly to get ready for the next surgical case. So don't look lightly on decontam. And I know in the real world, if it was my choice, people working decon, we would pay you more money per hour when you work decon, but they're not letting me run with the money right now. But understand that as a professional in this field for over 40 years, I understand how hard it is in decon. I've done many hours in decon myself. But my greatest joy was knowing that the product I produced while I was in decon was done according to the IFU, was done the best I could do with the equipment that I had, so that when it was handled on the other side, my peers could do their best job. And then as a team, we could get that item sterilized, because we all know if it isn't clean, you can't sterilize it. And cleaning starts in decontam. It is never over on pack and prep. So don't feel down when you're in decon, or managers when you're putting people in decon. Understand, relay to them the importance of the area they're in that day, and how important it is for them to do the right thing the right way each time, every day, because in the end, it's all about patient safety. Thank you.
Patient safety first. Boy, our executive producer Ignacio is on point. Last but not least, Karen Cherry Brown. If you were to let someone part, if you were to part with some information that you can give to that person until the next time you like to make an appearance on SPD 911, which may be 2 months from now. So give them something good, or maybe next week. Hopefully we'll get you. What would it be?
Well, first of all, thank you for letting me be on here today. So whether you are in sterile processing by choice or by force, because sometimes we know that you just can't find a job and you're there, or you may have been in the OR and you came down to sterile processing because of whatever the issue may be. You are in sterile processing. We are the heart of the hospital. And so a lot of times I tell people these are thankless positions. People don't say thank you for the great job that you did. And so you have to keep in mind that you're in there for, as Sharon just said, the patient is what we're in there for, to make sure that they have a great outcome. And so that great outcome comes with what we do in each of the areas in sterile processing. Each area is a very important area. So make sure that you understand everything that you need to know in that area. Don't wait for someone to, don't make a mistake and then say, someone didn't tell me. Make sure that you're asking all the questions that you need to ask if you have some concerns. There's so much material out there on sterile processing, on patient safety, on infection. So do your homework, take pride in what you do, and make sure that at the end of the day, you did the best job that you could do. Don't focus on anyone else, just focus on you doing the best job that you can do. And reach out to resources to give you whatever support that you need to do that. And that's what I have to leave you with.
Thank you, KCB. And I'm going to leave you all with this. It's always going to be from a leadership tip, because I want everyone that's listening to really ask yourself, like, what more could you ask of yourself, and who could you be potentially? Because we want to talk about having people that say, hey, I started listening to SPD 911 and I was just a tech and I never thought I could be a leader. But the more you all kept saying from CSPD to the C-suite, that's the language I want you to start writing everywhere. Because if you think about it, central sterile processing is the backbone of the operating room. Sterile processing techs are literally the reason surgeries happen safely. Without clean, sterile instruments, no procedures can happen. That means that every department depends on you, especially surgery, endoscopy, labor, and delivery. And the beautiful thing about starting in sterile processing is that you get to learn the flow of the hospital operations from the inside out. And when you understand how the hospital runs, you become a prime candidate for leadership roles, project management, and compliance. The second thing I want you to take is that you're in the middle of everything. Unlike other healthcare roles that stay siloed, sterile processing touches surgery, supply chain, infection control, quality and safety, biomedical engineering, clinical education. And this exposure and these environments give you more insight that can propel you further than anyone with any degrees that are just coming right from the university. And then the last thing, you get to learn technical and soft skills, precision under pressure, documentation and regulatory compliance, process improvement, time management, and teamwork. You get the grit of the brute of everything that the hospital brings to you in a high pressured environment that forces you to learn all of the things. Imagine C-suite that learned the hospital from central sterile processing. That sounds like a beautiful future, that if everyone that's listening right now, you can buy into the future that SIPS is trying to provide you. We want to successfully improve your professional services, but you have to look at what you're doing as a trampoline to where you can be and who you can become, not just a place that you feel stuck because that was the only job that you could get or the only place that you want to find. There are so many ways you can find more value that you can bring a healthcare system. You just have to start looking at it differently. What we say here at SIPS, listen, we're doing this because we care. We want you to know that there is an organization out there that's not going to allow for you to short play this life in this industry that you're in. There are so many levels of growth that you can take, but you have to understand that you have everything that you need inside in an environment that you go into every day that can make you the most capable candidate for leadership that can run hospitals all over the country. Why not you? That's my question. So we'll see you all next time, next week. We'll do this again, SPD 911, and we'll try to get Karen Cherry Brown back. But you got to go to SPD911.com. Let us know that you want KCB back. That's going to help us get KCB back on the show. Imagine KCB, SGG, and DJ. Not me, Derek Jones. It'll be crazy. Love you. There's nothing we can do about it. Let's get SPD to the
Thank y'all.